Hello, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of the State of the Rams podcast with CSU Athletic Director John Weber, presented by Rams Live. In this podcast, we'll be picking the brain of our CEO, our athletic director, John Weber, about the business side of the athletic department. As some of you know, before John became our fearless leader, he put his Colorado State business degree to good use, pursuing a successful career in the high-tech sector. He served as the president and CEO of Long Range Systems, a leading innovator in wireless on-site technology. A longtime CSU fan, he also jumped into action to aid the Rams' NIL efforts. He was the founder and executive director of CSU's NIL collective, the Green and Gold Guard. So we thought, who better to bring you to the passenger seat of the athletic department than the driver himself? Each episode will air on the first Monday of the month with a specific topic that we're going to dive deep into. We have incredible guests, and we're going to wrap up with the Green and Gold Spotlight, a closing segment to highlight what's going on in the athletic department. Our first episode is going to dive into the Ring of Honor and Ram legends and the importance of bringing these alumni back to campus. A few weeks ago, CSU men's basketball alumni and NBA vet Jason Smith took the time to sit down and chat with John and I as the first ever State of the Rams guest. But before we get into all of that, I have to ask John, what inspired you to start this podcast, and how do you hope to connect with fans through it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. When we look at all that's happening in college athletics today, several of us sat down, we just started talking about all the differences that now exist in terms of what's changed just in the last few years. College athletics looks and operates very differently today than it did just 3 or 4 years ago. So felt like it was a really good idea for us to put this together and talk through a lot of the business aspects of what happens within a college athletics department.
Well, I'm excited. I am not a business degree like you, so I'm actually learning a lot through this State of the Rams podcast. And for the rest of us who aren't savvy CEOs, can you walk us through kind of the progression of your business career before you became the athletic director?
Yeah, so I left here, graduated from the College of Business, and went to work for a company called EDS. It has since been sold to Hewlett Packard, but was analogous to like a Deloitte Consulting. So it was a global company. And I had the opportunity to really start on the business side there and work in between their clients and the developers that we had at EDS. And that really launched my tech career. They taught me to be a software engineer. And I was fortunate to have the business background here from Colorado State, so I think that really, really honestly helped me as I got into that world. And what it taught me is that it was really important as a software engineer, and then later a leader of the engineering department. I moved into marketing and sales, and eventually CEO roles. But it always taught me to really understand the business. And when I spent time in the high tech sector, I moved industries multiple different times. And I worked really hard to understand that industry. And there's similarities and there's differences between every industry. And as I transitioned into athletics, it's something that I had done multiple times before in terms of moving industries. So there's a lot of analogies, between the private world and the business world and what's happening in college athletics today, and being able to really dive in and understand the why behind a lot of these companies and what we're trying to do. And my background was really helpful.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, that you're no stranger to changes. And there's a lot of change going on in the athletic department world right now. What are some of the skills that you took from your business career that you've applied, especially like those first days as the athletic director?
Well, so when I look at what I spent a career doing, a lot of it was in very disruptive companies, very disruptive industries. I did several different startups, and what it taught me is that anytime that there's a change, there's also opportunity, and sometimes you got to look really hard for that opportunity. But that's what college athletics is going through right now, is a tremendous amount of change in the industry, and finding that opportunity and finding the way that you grow and become better as a result of that change. Anytime that you can take advantage of that change and get a leg up on anyone else, that's what the business world's about.
I love it. And you've mentioned before, and you mentioned it with Jason Smith, which we'll see later, your mantra, relentless. Mm-hmm. How do you as a leader hope to embody that, but also your department?
So we picked the word relentless. And I guess I should specifically say I picked the word relentless because there's an attitude behind that word. And I can't come up with a better word to use in sports than that word, because you lose a game, you wake up the next morning, you got to win the next one. You win a game, you wake up the next morning, you got to win the next one. You win a championship, you wake up the next morning and you got to start over because you haven't won anything. So that embodies an attitude, for all of our players, for all of our programs, for our student athletes, our coaches, our trainers, everybody. But it also embodies what we're doing on the business side and on the administrative side as well, because we have to relentlessly look for that change that creates the opportunity for us on the department. So whether it's running PBR in the stadium and finding additional ways to generate revenue for the program, or working harder and harder and harder with our donors to make sure that they're involved in a way that they make the impact that they want to on our programs, whatever that happens to be, we want to work really, really hard at it, and that's the attitude that we want to embody with everything that we do.
I love it. And when I saw that you had adopted the relentless mantra, I wasn't back as an employee yet. I was just an alumni and former student athlete. And I love that word. That's always been a word that I've attached myself to, as like, I'm going to give nobody an option. I'm just going to relentlessly chase after what I want to. And so I really love that that's our new mantra. And I feel like it really represents our department.
I do. I completely agree.
And this episode is going to be all about Ram Legends, about the Ring of Honor initiative. For people who don't know, what qualifies as a Ram Legend?
So a Ram Legend is someone that competed on behalf of Colorado State. So someone that that spent time here, and whether they graduated from here or not, I look at all of them as Ram Legends because they contributed to our programs in some way. And there are certainly some individuals that did a tremendous amount of impact on their program and this university and this community, and those are the ones that we want to really recognize as we start talking about some of the things like Ring of Honor.
You segued perfectly into my next question, the Ring of Honor initiative, bringing back those athletes that did create that tremendous amount of effort towards CSU athletics. What sparked that idea initially?
Honestly, it was, we had a recruit on campus just short of 2 years ago, and she was here for the women's basketball program. And I was down, I walked through the floor in Moby, and I looked up, and there were very few names, hanging in Moby. There were very few names over in Canvas Stadium, and what I want to make sure that people realize is the impact that some of these people had. And I want, when we have got recruits on campus, or whether we have alumni coming back or fans coming here for the first time or for the 100th time, I want them to be reminded of some of the greats that came through Colorado State and made us who we are. So it was important to me, and I think it's important to this university, that we honor some of those folks that have made just tremendous and lasting impacts on our programs. And when for example, back to the recruit that came here, I want them to realize that there's an opportunity for them to have their name hanging from Moby or on the side of campus.
It is a pretty cool thing to aspire to if you're a young CSU athlete, or even our youngest fans who come to the games and get to see those banners hanging up in the stands.
Absolutely, it's a reminder of some of the past greats, and as you come to one of our competitions, you're often reminded of a game 10, 15, 20, sometimes 30 or 40 years ago, right? Where you've got a special memory about something. And that's just another little nod that we can do to our past. Speaking of those memories, you've been a lifelong CSU fan. Is there a memory or specific athlete that just made you fall in love with the Rams? The memory that probably comes to mind first, and I got asked this question a little while ago too, would have been the 1990 Freedom Bowl. So I was a student then, and it was the first bowl game that we'd been to in a while, and seeing that upper deck swaying back and forth with all around country up there was pretty special. I love that. That's a moment. I actually learned about that moment in class. So okay. I wasn't there to experience it, but I love hearing about all of those memories, and it's so fun to have the Ram Legends back for them to talk about what memories have stood out to them. How does something like the Ring of Honor and bringing those people back to campus impact more than just that person? How does it impact our community? Well, it's going back to really realizing and recognizing and appreciating what they did for the university, because a lot of these folks, they competed in a way that helped us pack Moby, that helped us pack whether it was Hughes or Canvas, and they made a very lasting impression. So a lot of these people really built relationships with our local community as well, and in a lot of cases those have gone on for a lifetime. And so it's just a really special thing that we need to do more of. And I'm excited to have launched that program, and looking forward to putting more and more people in Moby and in Canvas and all of our venues.
It's so fun. And have you seen a difference in alumni engagement since launching the Ram Legends and the Ring of Honor initiatives?
I do think so. And we've been we have been doing a lot of different things. So this isn't the only initiative that we have. Patrick Crozet has been doing a really good job of shepherding and stewarding all of our Ram alums. We're working really hard to get more and more of them back for our Ram Legends nights, for all of our sports when they compete, and really making sure that we're opening up the doors and welcoming our alumni back and our Ram Legends back, because it's really important for our current generation of student athletes to see the past. And they make such a big impact on our current student athletes in terms of the commitment that they made, the difference that this place made for them, in their lives. I think you're a testament to that. You had a great time here. You had a great career here for our volleyball team, and you worked on the relationships that you had here in the community, and you had an opportunity to come back, and you did. And I think that's really important to create those types of opportunities for all of our student athletes.
Absolutely. You could not turn down the opportunity to come back to Fort Collins, that's for sure, and to be a Ram in a different way. When you look at the legacy of the CSU athletic department, how do you see the Ring of Honor fitting into that down the road 10 years from now?
Yeah, it's something that it's a very prestigious honor. It's something that will continue to grow and continue to build on. And it's something that gives all of our current student athletes something to aspire to. And I want to make sure that our current student athletes are taking every advantage they can of the opportunity that they have here, and whether that's competing at the absolute highest level or contributing in practice to make sure that our teams are best prepared, but take advantage of the personal relationships that are built here. It's friendships with other students, it's professional relationships with faculty, it's mentoring relationships with our donors and community and fan base. This place is a special place and takes care of its own, and I want to make sure that all of our student athletes are doing everything they can to take advantage of that opportunity. Absolutely.
And in your business background, you know that building positive culture and marketing matters a lot. How does having these alumni be back involved in the athletic department help the brand of CSU athletics?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And we already talked a little bit about some of the greats that have played here. But at the end of the day, athletics exists to magnify what we're doing from a university perspective. Our main missions of academic support and research are amplified by what we do. And the better we are, the more we compete, and the better job we do at that for our university. So this is a place that we're all very, very, very proud of, and we work very hard for.
You guys are all about to see it because we're about to go to our Jason Smith clip. But when I was watching it back, there's a moment where Jason is talking about how important his time at CSU was and how honored he was to receive the Ring of Honor. And you just looked so touched. And it was a moment where you could really see John Weber genuinely. What was it like to hear that sentiment from him?
It's funny that you picked up on that. It is a special thing. And when, I've been blessed to be the person to call these people to tell them that they're being inducted into the Ring of Honor, and the emotional response that I get every single time that I have that conversation, it can't be duplicated by anything else. So it's really, really special, and it's incredibly meaningful to them, to have an opportunity to come back, be celebrated again, for what they did here at Colorado State. And you could just see it in their faces and their actions and their smiles. It's fantastic.
It is so special. I wish I could be a fly on the wall for some of those conversations, because I bet that's probably one of the most rewarding parts of your job.
Very, very cool. Yes.
Well, we don't want to make you wait any longer. We're going to head to our Jason Smith segment next. We're going to be talking all about coming back on campus, receiving the Ring of Honor, NIL and finances, and how to build a successful career outside of the court and also on the court. So make sure to check it out. Today, we're going to be sitting down with Jason Smith, CSU Hall of Famer, NBA first-round draft pick, over a decade in the league. He'll be getting inducted into the Ring of Honor this afternoon. We're going to be talking about the importance of the Ring of Honor, navigating NIL and finances, and building a successful career on and off the court. Jason, you're back on campus to receive one of the highest honors that a CSU athlete can receive. What are some of your emotions coming into today?
Flood of emotions, first and foremost. This guy right here gives me a call, and I'm like, oh no, something's going on. But then when I heard Ring of Honor, I was like, oh my gosh, that is monumental right there. And for me, just kind of going back to the first days, I was born and raised small town in Colorado, Kersey, Colorado. Loved Colorado State. Both my parents went here. One of my siblings went here. So for me, Colorado State has a ton of meaning for me. But then to go throughout my entire career and then have John come back and being able to come back to the university and have that inclusion of old, I don't want to say old, but former athletes, it really goes full circle. And the appreciation that I have, not only for this university, but for John as a whole, is you can't describe.
And John, why has bringing Ram legends like Jason back to campus and honoring alumni been such a forefronting priority for you?
Yeah, well, I think you just saw it, right? So having our Ram athletes come back, it's meaningful for all of us. It's meaningful for all of them. And certainly proud of Jason and everything that he's done in his career here at Colorado State, what he's done in his career afterwards, just absolutely outstanding. And every single member that we've talked to that we've inducted this year for our inaugural year of Ring of Honor, it's just been, I think you mentioned a flood of emotions, and it's been the same for every single person. It's a very, very special moment, and it's one that I'm honored to be a teeny tiny part of.
Yeah, it's been really special to be a part of bringing these people back to campus. Both of you guys have navigated some really big career transitions. Jason, you went from being an NBA player to now you're an analyst with the Washington Wizards. John went from tech to being an athletic director. What were some of the biggest adjustments when switching over your career paths, and what are some things you took from your first career and you now use in your current career?
John, that's up for you. You had a much more important career than I did.
Well, I don't know about that, but I certainly had a more drastic, I think, career change. But you know what? When you look at my previous career and what I'm doing now, my previous career, I spent nearly 30 years in very disruptive companies, a very disruptive industry, multiple different industries. And that's exactly what's going on in college athletics right now. So, I'm in a weird way, I'm kind of comfortable navigating this type of change. But at the end of the day, they're all people businesses too. And, the thing I've learned is you got to build a team. And, it's incredibly important for the team around you to make sure that you're able to get the things done that you're trying to achieve.
Here's what I got to tell you. John is not the traditional athletic director. He is the guy who dealt with chaos for 30 years, and now the ever-changing landscape that is college athletics, he is navigating that with ease. This is easy for him. He makes it look so easy. It may not be easy, but he makes it look very, very easy from the outside looking in, and the communication that we've had. This is nothing for him. He is going out there. He's made changes with the basketball program, to the interior of Moby Arena, to NIL, to transfer portal. That's a lot of stuff for a lot of people. And you see a lot of other colleges, a lot of traditional athletic directors or college coaches, they don't want to deal with it. The fact that he stepped into that fire and said, come on, this isn't that hard. That's why Colorado State is so great right now.
Yeah, but it's also a team. And you had a phenomenal career in college. You had a phenomenal career in the NBA, but you can't do it by yourself.
Very true.
So it's who you surround yourself with. And we've got a great team here at CSU, and really, really proud of my team and all the hard work that they do. And things like Rams Live, bringing this together and this new podcast, our inaugural episode of it is just a really fun thing, and just outstanding people everywhere you look.
And if you give John credit, you have to give our president credit as well, Amy Parsons. And because I'm not here in the state of Colorado now, I'm on the East Coast, so I'm checking socials all the time.
You're in Colorado right now.
Very true. Very true. I'm in Colorado. I'll never be an East Coast individual. I'm always born and raised in Colorado. But to see them on the social media aspect, that opens up a lot of doors. You see them at every football game, basketball game, track meet, softball, soccer, baseball. It's just every sport is included, and it's so much fun to watch that from afar. But now being back in the state of Colorado and at Colorado State, wow, great job.
But you know what that translates to is when you come to Canvas Stadium, when you come to Moby Arena, the student turnout that we've had has been outstanding. So we had one game last year, we had nearly 16,000 students in Canvas Stadium, and we set a student attendance records in Moby this last year. So that translating to that student engagement, there's nothing, if you think back to your day, there's nothing more fun than being inside of a college atmosphere for sure.
I cannot complain one bit, just saying.
I love it. Sometimes I think, when do Amy and John sleep? Because I see them everywhere. They're doing everything. I don't even want to know what your schedule is like from week to week. I hope you're getting some rest in there at some point. Both of your guys' careers required high pressure decision making. What lessons from sports or leadership traits from sports help drive business success?
Well, I think John said it really well in his business or former business of navigating those difficult decisions. For me, for the sports world, those difficult decisions are very easy and basic. Just being on time, making sure that you're a good person, always building networking, going from college to the professional ranks, you realize that it's not necessarily just about sports anymore. You realize that things are a business, and the way that you act in public, in private, to your coaches, to the training staff, it all matters. And the more you are a real human being and you kind of project that positivity on a daily basis, that changes a lot of things. If you're going in with a bad attitude, people are going to notice that. And if you continually have that bad attitude and those bad work habits, you're the last one in the building and the first one out, that is never a good thing. You're first one in the building and your last one out, you're always working hard. Those things get noticed from top to bottom.
The other thing I'd say is that if you're not trying new things, you're not learning and you're not getting better. So constantly being willing to fail, quite frankly, and try something different, find what works, ignore what doesn't, and move on. We're all going to make mistakes, right? Throughout business, throughout your career, throughout my career, have probably learned more from things that didn't go right than things that did.
Very much so.
But when something doesn't go right, admit it, move on, learn from it, and on to the next sort of thing. But that allows you to grow, and whether that's as an athlete or whether that's as a business leader, just growth is so important to everything you do.
Very much so.
John, you touched on failure. That was something I was going to bring up next. How do you handle failure when the stakes could be financial, organizational, or potentially career defining?
Yeah, if things happen, admit it, figure out how to fix it, and get focused on that, and then move on to the next thing. If you spend too much time worrying about that, you're not worrying about what's next and worrying about what you really need to do to get going. But failure is a part of the game, whether it's sport, whether it's business, whether it's life. It's a part of the game, and learn from it and move on.
See, now he gave you the business aspect of it. Let me take you into an athlete's mindset. You just got beat by 20. You don't really want to think about it that much. You kind of flush the toilet on the game. You figure out things that you learned from that experience. You take it, you move on, you go to the next game, the next opportunity. You're not going to win every game. You're not going to make every shot. But the mindset that you have moving forward and learning from those mistakes that you made are absolutely paramount.
Ruby, one of the things that you and I really haven't talked about is the use of the word relentless. So I picked that word very purposefully, because whether you're talking about business, whether you're talking about sport, that's the attitude that you got to have. So you win a game, you wake up the next morning, you got to go win the next one. You lose a game, you wake up the next morning, you got to put that behind you, go win the next one. You win a championship, you wake up the next morning, you haven't won anything. You got to start over.
Next day.
So that kind of attitude, as we apply that to sport, as we apply that to the business side of sport, that's the attitude that we've got to have to get to where we want to be.
That's a great point too, because with the NBA, there's 82 games. You lost a game, you don't dwell on it that much. You got 24 hours to learn from it, go to the next one. But if you win, you got 24 hours to enjoy that, on to the next game, next day. It's always moving forward, stacking days, making things for the better.
Those are some great points. And Jason, you touched on this a little bit when we chatted earlier, but you spent 3 years at CSU, which is kind of rare now in the transfer portal era. Yeah. Do you think spending a good chunk of time at CSU helped your success in the NBA, and why?
100% helped me. I had opportunities, especially after my freshman year, because of potential. NBA always talks about potential. But for me, I was not ready mentally. I wasn't ready physically. I was in the mindset, because my parents always taught me, student athlete. You are a student. You're going to go there, get your education. I really took that to heart. I wanted to make sure that I maximized my time at Colorado State. I enjoyed every bit of being here, but it also helped me in the later terms of my life. Going on into my professional career in the NBA, Colorado State prepared me for that. From the scheduling of time management, making sure that you're an adult moving forward. Like once you get out of Colorado State, that's kind of like the training wheels. Then when you get into the pro level, Nobody's holding your hand to make sure that you're there on time. Nobody's holding your hand when you're on the road. You got to figure things out on your own. And here at Colorado State, my coaches always challenged me. Hanging out with my teammates always kind of prepared me for the next level of like what's going to go on with different locker room atmospheres. And being on 6 different NBA teams, everything's different. Almost nothing stays the same. And from year to year, you have, oh man, we're going to have a great squad next year. The team could be completely different. And that's where NIL and transfer portal, it drastically has changed college atmosphere and college basketball, college athletics as a whole. So for me, kind of on the outside looking in, I'm excited because Colorado State has made the right and necessary moves to kind of change that mindset of old traditional, everybody stays here 3-4 years, because if you don't help and change the atmosphere, whether it's in the building, the fans, the coaches, the facilities that you have, people can just move on. But if you stay there, you can build those long-lasting relationships. And I think Colorado State has done a phenomenal job of saying, hey, we're putting the time, the money, the effort into you guys, not only as athletes, but as people on and off the playing field, I guess.
And this creates a place for you to come home to.
100%.
So you spent 3 years here. You had a great time here. Learned a lot, whether in the classroom and on the court. Created a phenomenal opportunity for you. But this was a place for you to come home to. And if you look at the modern era right now, there are legitimate and real and really great reasons for student athletes to move between institutions, but there's also really great reasons to stay at an institution. And at a Colorado State, and I was thinking about this, Ruby, and I think it was your senior year when I got up and I talked to the volleyball team at the postseason banquet. And one of the things that I talked about is, we had all of our players sitting with different donors throughout the event. And I stood up there and I said, all the players out there, take advantage of this moment, because all the donors are there to take care of you, to engage with you, to support you. And whether that's, finding your first career opportunity, as you move on into a new business, or, whether that's, 20 years from now and you want someone to talk to or a place to come back to, maximizing those relationships and those opportunities is important. I'm going to stop and brush this.
Thank you. It's been buzzing around me.
That's the beauty of a podcast. You never know what's going to happen.
I was kind of trying to make it stay on me so that it wouldn't go over you guys while you were talking. Hopefully,
it went somewhere. I don't know where it went. Sorry.
No, that's great. No, thank you, John. That's a great point. And I think Jason being back on campus is a great testament to that. This is, like you said, my first career opportunity, and I get to come back to a place that I love, that I consider home. So it's really special, and I do share a lot of the same sentiments that Jason was saying. So it's cool to hear it from an athlete of a different generation from a different time as well. College athletes are making a lot of money now in college, and that's a big hot topic. Both of you CSU alums who've had great success in your careers, what are some financial lessons that you had to learn early on, and what advice would you have to young people who are dealing with making that money?
That's easy for me. Live within your means. Yes, you might get a lot of money in college athletics nowadays, but if you live like a normal individual, the way that you were raised, it does not matter how much money you get. Live like a college athlete. Save that money for a rainy day. You are very young. Invest it. Just think about if you didn't have it. Back in the day, I didn't have that at all. If I would have gotten the money that these guys get, I would have been 100% smart about it. And also, my parents would have been like, yeah, you're not touching any of that money. You're going right to investment. It's almost like, oh, you have it, but you don't have it. But I would have absolutely been smart with it. It's difficult because, think, 18 years old, 19 years old. We were much different people back then. But for me, on the back end of an NBA career, looking back to my college days, if I had more money, I don't think it would have changed me at all. It would have kind of motivated me to work harder, to be better on and off the court, to kind of use those networking skills, to talk to those donors, to anytime we had banquets and stuff, I was always the person talking to people, because maybe I'm a chatty Cathy, I don't know, but it was always an amazing opportunity to see what other people had an opportunity to do outside of athletics, the business world. And that's where I wanted to get to. I went to the business college here at Colorado State. That's where I was like, man, what do you do for a living? How can I get to be where you're at? What did you do when you were younger? What was the advice that you get? Those were the questions that I would ask. And I guess that's just kind of my detailed response.
Yeah. The other thing I'd say is that every person is different also.
Yeah.
They come from different backgrounds, different experiences, different family life. And one of the things that we try to do here at CSU, or what we do here is at CSU, is we do some financial education for student athletes to make sure that that we're doing everything that we can with them, to help them, make smart financial decisions and navigate that, because it's a very different world, and you're thrust into, adulthood, so to speak, in a very rapid manner. But it's great to see our community partners step up and help our student athletes through this process too.
And it's something that doesn't go unnoticed, because the guys that come in, they're like, wow, I had no idea any of this was even a part of college athletics. To where you think about high school, these kids are getting bombarded by different schools of, hey, we'll pay you this, we'll pay you this. If you have the opportunity to get financial information and guidance on how to really navigate what it is to get a large amount of money, that makes a world of difference.
And I think it's also important to talk about, really what's happening from an industry perspective, because when you think about college athletics exists to market a university. To attract the general student body, to work with enrollment, to work with retention, build the brand. That's why college athletics exists. And our student athletes participating a little bit in that process, I think, it's a meaningful thing for them, and it's impactful to them, and it's impactful to the university as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay, to wrap up our interview here, you guys both know what it was like to be CSU students. What advice would you give to any of our current students, whether it's financial, life advice, anything that we've touched on?
As soon as you get done with college, life hits you real hard. Enjoy it.
Enjoy the moment.
Enjoy it as much as you possibly can. CSU. Once you get done with CSU, life's a little bit different. Enjoy it.
The other thing I would say is take advantage of the situation.
100%.
Because when you're at Colorado State, everyone here in this ecosystem wants to see you succeed.
Yeah.
So really, really work hard on those relationships, because you never know when you might want to come back and work at Colorado State. And there's two of us that are doing that, right? It's really important to work on those relationships, and whether it's with your professors in your college, your field of study, that you constantly, maybe throughout your career, you're calling and asking for career advice to some of those folks, or whether it's with your teammates or your sorority sisters or whatever it happens to be. Just really, really build on those relationships, because this is a really formative time for people. And, I can promise you that I've got lifelong friends that I met here at CSU when I was a student.
Exactly.
Well, thank you guys so much. This was a great interview. It was great having you sit down and chat with us.
The best.
Go Rams.
Go Rams. John, how great was it to have Jason Smith back on campus, able to sit and chat with us?
Wasn't that awesome having him back? Anytime that our athletes like that are able to come back and spend some time with all of us, with the current generation of Rams, it's always a great time.
And not that I'm surprised, but I've just been so entranced by some of these people's personalities when they come back, like just the nicest, most genuine, like I'm just ready to go to war for all of them.
That makes it a special part about bringing these people back too, isn't it?
Now we're going to jump into our green and gold spotlight, and we have so much to cheer for as Ram fans right now. Speaking of, Tess Winteray, she just won the Mountain West, and she's heading to NCAAs for swimming. Yeah, how fantastic is that? So good on her. So she won the 200-meter backstroke, and competing in Atlanta here in a short couple of weeks. So really proud of her, and look forward to what she's going to be able to do on the national level. Absolutely, and she's just a sophomore, so we got a lot more of Tess Winteray to come for Rams to cheer on. We're also, you've been a big part of the men's and women's basketball team heading to the Mountain West tournament. They're going to be doing that soon. What does that event kind of look like for you as an athletic director? Yeah, so I head out there the very first day of the women's tournament. I'm there for the entirety of that, and then stay on for the entirety of the men's tournament as well. And right now I plan on spending the entire week in Las Vegas and cheering on our Rams and both of our programs as far as and as deep as they can go in that tournament. I love it, and they've both been on quite the winning streak recently, so it's been really fun to watch them compete. Yes, they have. Coach Williams has been doing a great job with our women's program, and our men's program is stacking a bunch of wins together, just coming off of a really nice win against San Diego State. That when the orange comes out, it's always a good thing, and that was quite an environment on Saturday. Oh, I love the Aggie orange jerseys. Those have like a little extra magic dust in them or something.
Yes, they do. There must be a little piece of magic.
And then we have spring football starting up soon. We have our new coaching staff, a lot of new players coming in. I'm really excited for that to start. What are you most excited for with football starting up here?
It's just, I'm excited to see this new staff and this new roster come together. They're already working hard. It's a really great group of professionals and young men, and they're going to make all of us proud come this fall.
Yep, and we definitely want to secure our season tickets for that. If you don't have them yet, season ticket renewals the time is ticking. The clock is counting down, so you have until, I think, March 13th.
March 13th.
So when this airs, you'll have a little under 2 weeks to still secure those season tickets, so definitely make sure you don't miss out on that. When we're filming this right now, CSU Track and Field hasn't yet left for the Mountain West Conference Championships, but they will have since competed by the time that we're done, so we're hoping that they come away with the championship.
Both of our men's and women's programs historically have done well, and really looking forward to them competing this weekend.
Was there anything we missed for the green and gold spotlight, John?
I'm sure there is, but this is what we call crossover season. Almost everything is going at the same time at the moment, but really excited to see all of our programs compete as we finish out this spring semester.
Absolutely, it's been busy, and I'm sure you're like me, like you thrive in the busyness. This is like the best part of the year, right? Well, thank you all so much for tuning into the first episode of the State of the Rams podcast. We'll see you next month.
Go Rams.